It was pretty dope as far as to do that stuff. But I mean, that's it. Like it was the Border Patrol it was like one of those ones where like, we were there and like there's footage of like with the Border Patrol chief talking, and there's this person who's on a major news outlet, and I never knew who he was, but he's like, I guess somebody big, and he's calm and collected, right? So he's talking like, no big deal, having a good time. And it's like 3, 2, 1, and he just starts screaming, he's over here, and he's just like, for real, man. Like it's an act. It's like
flair to it. He's adding
yeah. It's like,
it.
dude, you were so chill. As soon as you're on, and like you're literally like screaming, "How dare they? They're hiding the truth!" And so like, there's another video of him that went viral where he's like yelling at the Border Patrol people, "Why are you hiding these people from us?" And da da da. And you're just like, bro, you're talking to a government employee. Like you think he knows? Like he's told what to do,
right?
And so it was one of those ones. And so what was crazy is like, this was not a left or a right. You and I don't get into politics. I'm not a politic person at all. I just didn't say this is what I saw. I can't say anything else beyond I didn't see shit. Isn't it the craziest thing to be like, what'd you see? Nothing. Man. Didn't see it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Now there were people that wanted to come over. But now that Title 42 has ended, it does make it a harsher thing for them if they do come over illegally though. That's what people didn't know. Like, if you get caught illegally, I think you do it twice, you get some jail time, man. You can't come you can't immigrate in for like 5 years or some stuff. It's harsh penalties.
Yeah. So they do. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's just pretty crazy. It's just like the Border Patrol did their job.
Yeah.
That was it. They was there at this one area. People were like, you should go over here. It's like, homie, that costs money, man. Those are plane tickets, man. We got families to feed and stuff like that. It was really the craziest thing for me though. And it's like, one is the comments. The comments were one, but another was people really wanted this, and like they wanted whatever the news was telling them. They wanted either left or right. They both wanted one side of extreme. Right. They wanted, either an invasion to come in. They wanted people to break that, or they wanted Border Patrol to beat their ass or something. Like they wanted this craziest thing. And what happened was, everybody was professional. People came over there. They were peaceful. They literally just waited their turn to get processed. Now, and so what I learned about this trip was crazy is the Border Patrol is not responsible after they process them. That's a whole nother organization. The Border Patrol does not do that at all. They literally man the border. You come in illegally or you come in and seek asylum, they will process you and somebody else takes over from there.
Correct.
So to see people being like, Border Patrol is doing this, like, no, Border Patrol is literally doing the only thing they're created to do, which was this. That's somebody else's duty. Now, when we did leave the airport, you see, because they had folders, you could tell that they were migrants, or you could tell they're immigrants or whatever fuck, because they're having folders, they have cell phones, and they like getting on airplanes. Right. Now that was crazy because we're in the airport. No one knows if Johnny's going to get on the air flight and go wherever he said he was going to go. We don't know. He's in the wind as far as you know, because they have to go. They get summoned to go to court for immigration court, and that could take months or years. Yeah. You don't know where he's at from there. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just sitting there saying, but that's not the Border Patrol's job either. So I think that was a mix up. Some of the comments, man, were like, just people would just say some of the most god awful things of like, how come you didn't kill any of them? And it's like, whoa, wow. Man, like, and so it's like, yes, there's people that are coming here looking for a better life. 100% true. And there's some people that may not be the best characters of the world too, as well, might be doing nefarious things. That is also true. But to lump them all together and be like, why didn't you kill them? It's like, hey man, we got to like, these are human beings, and not everything is like what everyone's been telling you. There are some people that are coming here just to get a better life. And there are some people that are probably carrying drugs. Why can't both those statements be true and not at the same time mean a blanket statement? So the comments really kind of made you be like, dude, comments on social media are fucking insane. And people will say some of the craziest thing, and it's just like I would never associate with somebody if you were to sit there and be like, say these things where people are like, they were talking about killing kids. I'm like, the fuck, dude, I don't care if they come from another country. That's a kid. Yeah, man. That person isn't asked for that. Like, yes, there are some people that do bad things, but that kid wasn't one of them, and therefore you're trying to like ask us to do that stuff is ridiculous.
Now, was that his goal, was to show the perception was not what it was, the way the media was making it out to be? He just wanted to show that it's smooth process, like Border Patrol is not dealing with.
This is what I see. That's it. No agenda. It wasn't like, I'm going to go show this. What are we going to show? Whatever the fuck we see. What did you see?
Yeah.
Nothing. This is one of those ones where it's like, as like, you know, as it's almost like as like a TV show. You're like, oh, you want suspense, you want drama, like reality TV show. You want to be like,
Yeah.
hey, boom, Johnny, I'm done, and then cut to commercial, right? And you're like, I got to stick around, right? This one was just like, what's going on? Like,
You want that Jerry Springer effect. You want a fight to start happening.
And so we're in El Paso, Texas, right? And there's some news media going on where they're showing these people rioting and stuff like that. It's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
When we went there, wasn't.
Yeah.
So again, it's not that saying that they were right or wrong. I'm just saying what we saw at that very moment. We took live action. We recorded things. We're just like, wasn't there. Don't know what to say, man. Just wasn't what people thought.
Yeah, that's cool that you got to experience that though, and go along with him and everything else in short. But you're right. I think for me, because you know it's happening in Florida too. You know, we get the immigrants that come from South America, the Caribbean, or whatnot, and they make their way up here. But it's crazy because a lot of people don't do the research for it. You know, like you said, they just take it from what they see, whatever's posting on social media, whoever posts what bad stuff, they're going to automatically assume that is the bad stuff, you know? And what people don't understand is that there are people who, like you said, who are just trying to come to America and, you know, it's a land of opportunity. They're just trying to come to America and make something out of their lives. And unfortunately, sometimes you do have a bad seed that are doing the mischievous stuff to come into America and for the drugs and everything else. And it's crazy because doing for my final paper during school was, and I think I shared this with you, was the border. It was about the border wall and everything else. And going through the research and just looking at different information, everything else, it was crazy that for so many years this has been this way, and yet Border Patrol still gets the finger. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, they have one job, but that job has changed within time. You know, before they used to be a little bit harsher back in the days, but as time progressed, they were more lenient to just, hey, we just got to focus on the protocol, the process, instead of going into the land, instead of killing or dragging people out left and right. I mean, we even went through that one, the phase of, you know, the whole detention centers where we were pulling families apart. They were taking the kids away from the parents. And of course, Congress and everybody else changed that because that was sort of abusive, you know?
Well, it's their policy. So that's one of the things I have, man, is like, they are not doing it. That is their policy. And so that's the whole thing too, as well. And that's one thing that I really like to get out though, is like, there's not a Border Patrol dude going out there and being like, hey man, I don't like this shit. Separate them. No, you know what I mean? And so it's like, and that's the thing where a lot of them are sitting there saying, well, we don't like this. Then change the policy. They're only doing what the policy is. And the reason why a lot of them did it, from what I understand, was you have to make sure that that person is who they say is, because there's a lot of people that are sex trafficking these kids and doing that as well. And so they're separating them to protect the kid. It just so happens that sometimes it happens to a family, right? It's one of those ones where sometimes it protects the kid and sometimes it might hurt him because it takes him away. But the thing though, with a lot of it is that the thing, like I said, with everything is, it's just a policy. So they're not enforcers of it. It's like if they sit there and say, hey man, when you come on to base, the military if you come onto a military base, you gotta always present you gotta always do a breathalyzer. Someone be like, well, how dare you? It's like, well, if it's policy in a sense, right? Now we all know security forces, we all know some of them, so that might be a bad example, but at the same time frame, if someone doesn't like it, then it's policy. The sad part is that's America's policy. They're just doing on the behalf of America. Right. And I do think we do got to change the way we immigrate people, our immigration status. Like, it's fucking goofy, man. Like, you know, during COVID, man, my wife, we didn't know when she was going to come to America. We were here in America. And we didn't know because we had done it a year before COVID happened. COVID shut down everything. Luckily, we did ours a year before we had it, before COVID, because they weren't doing no interviews. They weren't doing nothing, none of that stuff. They weren't even doing a remote, anything like that. They just shut down immigration. So imagine if you're trying to come from another country, imagine you're trying to come from Mexico the legal way, and they just shut things down. It was hard to figure out what was going on. We didn't know. We paid money already. And we were already in the system a year before. A year before this stuff happened, we were already, man, a year? our waiting list was a year type thing. Can you imagine? And then you backlog it for 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
Shit. So I think that's why I kind of just wanted to cut you off on that thing is just so people understand. Yeah, I know, right? Like, thanks, guy. I have a master's degree. How dare you with your CCAF?
But you are correct. It is.
Yeah, but it's a policy.
Us being federal employees, being part of the military, everything was policy guided.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You had a policy for doing this. You had a policy for doing that. And what people don't understand is that with Border Patrol, they had to keep up with the new inventions that the drug dealers and cartels were doing. You know what I'm saying? Just from, doing the research and everything else, like tunnels started being built, dating from the El Chapo days, they was doing tunnels since then. Then they started cutting down, they started making, cutting through the wall itself. You know what I'm saying? Like they were finding different ways to get into the United States illegally. Yeah. And Border Patrol had to catch up with that. They couldn't keep the same mandate of let's put 50 people in a row down a line and hope for the best. You know what I'm saying? They had to catch up to be like, okay, instead of wasting the manning because we don't have enough people for the shift works and everything else, they had to compromise and do other things to it and whatnot. But again, that comes from above them. That comes down the channel to be like, okay, this is going to be the new policy mandates on how we do things and so on and so forth. But the first thing with Border Patrol is their safety too. They gotta be careful, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they make it seem like they're just going out there head hunting. Like let's just fucking catch illegals and let's bring them in. Let's catch undocumented and let's bring them in. And it's not that way. They have their process to be like, okay, this is our perimeter. This is what we protect and so on and so forth. And if something comes up, then we're going to apprehend and take them in. But you're right. The reentries and the entries, those are prosecution crimes. Like they could go to law court and they could, bad things could come from them when they send them back and basically ban them from whatnot. But what I did find interesting when I was doing the research was that a lot of those that actually get caught and get sent back, they don't re-enter because the country itself is coming up in its economy, in its workforce, and everything else. So a lot of them don't even look at the United States no more. They're seeing it as because the ties, for example, with Mexico, the ties with the U.S. and Mexico, a lot of them is trade, commerce, and all that stuff. So with United States helping Mexico to sort of bring up their country, a lot of their locals are like, why do I need to enter illegally? I could make good money here now. You know what I'm saying? I could stay in my country, open up 3 stores and make a good profit, And it's crazy how the numbers just staggered. Like from 2005 to 2010, it was like 60-70% of illegals were being apprehended and captured and everything else. And now that their country was coming up in the economy, the wealth and all that stuff, that thing went down to like maybe 10% where they were capturing illegals. And a lot of them didn't want to re-enter because they were like, fuck it, why for it? I might get prosecuted. I might have criminal charges. I might have this. I might have that. I might as well just stay in my country where now it's up and coming. It's producing. It has an economy. It has agriculture. It has other things that I could now work off instead of trying to illegally enter the United States. But again, it's not just the Southwest. Like you said, we have the North border as well. That shit is happening up there too. I mean, there's not a lot of coverage up there because we're so prone to like Mexico, bad, what the media shows. But there's shit happening. Human trafficking is big out there in the North border from Canada into the United States. A lot of people don't see that. Drugs are being disseminated through there as well. A lot of people don't see that, because the media doesn't portray it. They just portray the Southwest border because a lot of the times, majority of the cartel was down there and everything else. The movies show it. I don't know how many fucking Pablo Escobar movies they have made. You know what I'm saying? How many fucking El Chapo movies they have made. The shows Narcos, everything is always portrayed down there. And not many people understand the borders is north and south. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Plus maritime borders as well. But it happens in the Canada area as well. Shit is popping off up there, but we're not the media is not capturing that for us to be all crazy about it, because all they want, like you said, homeboy, what he did, 3, 2, 1. Oh my God, look what's happening.
Yeah.
The flair. They want the fluff. They want to see the whole Hollywood fucking light and fucking show. And it's happening up in the Canada area too, which is crazy. And no media covers it because it's not good news. It's not good ratings for them.
So what's crazy, man, about the Border Patrol, dude, they're a big humanitarian mission. They save a lot of fucking people, man. People don't know that. There's a lot of people they save because somebody forgot water. They get scared. They take off, man. It's hot. Yeah. You know, they were saying it's normal for them to find dead bodies that just died, just died because it is a very dangerous thing to come to. You know what I mean? So that's what, and also too, man, Border Patrol suffers from some of the most suicidals in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Dude, can you imagine you do a job and you're looked as a demon, dude? There's people that are like, "How you're Mexican? How dare you?" Not in the process, but it's so hard to get into Border Patrol. You got to take a polygraph. If you stole like a Snickers as a kid, you cannot become Border Patrol.
You can be.
Can you imagine? Like, it's goofy. Like, so like you're already having a hard problem recruiting people, right? Mm-hmm. And then when they get a job, you're going to treat them like garbage. And then like they're by themselves for like miles along. They got to call for back. Like, you know what I mean? There's so many different things. And a lot of them, man, they're going to when they get stationed somewhere, they're going to a sector. Yeah. They're not going to Beverly Hills, California, live in a nice cush job. Some of the things is a rough terrain. They're walking. Yeah. That's their job. That's their desk. They're out there walking, right? And so that's why I was like, man, there's a lot of things we don't ever portray, and we always talk negative. But it's like I didn't know this. So one of the key things about it is, did you know that Border Patrol is a federal agent, right?
Correct.
If you were driving in front of Border Patrol and they're behind you and you had a tail light out, would you think they would pull you over?
No.
Why do you think that?
Because that's more of a local, like, police law enforcement matter.
Right. They cannot pull. It can only pull you over. They think it has something to do with illegal immigration. Like, that's it. So like if you're speeding 60 miles an hour, they can't pull you over and give you a ticket. They can pull you over and be like, "Hey, are you kind of do some illegal activity like for this?"
Probable cause.
I didn't know that, man. I was like, that's wild. They're like, yeah, that's like, they only have one mission. And it's like, damn, that sucks that they get that bad rap. Cause to me, that's the silliest thing in the world, where people demonize you. People call you a traitor. Man. People do this thing and you're like, you're doing all these good things. Yeah. You're helping people. You're bringing them water. Like, they're saving people because they come to them as a human. Okay, we don't know who you are, but you're dying of dehydration. Let's give you water. Let's worry about that first. That's the thing I don't like, right? And I think that's the thing that kind of sucks about a lot of our media, is people painted a picture one way or another. So that's why we're like, hey, look, we're going to go over there and we're going to show you what we saw. Didn't see that, right? And so it's like, whatever social media was showing you, didn't see it. And that's why after a while, you start looking at it, you didn't see nothing of El Paso because it wasn't going on over there. Is there other areas? For sure, it could be. I'm not like, we're not naive. Now, there was, we drive by the border and you would see there's towels or there's T-shirts on top of the barbed wire. They're getting over that, right? I did see a guy, we're driving on the highway. There was a dude who ran somewhere and just stopped in the middle of the street and then took off running that way. I'm pretty sure it was right by the border. I'm pretty sure he didn't do it for right. We went by the border and we saw foot tracks. We saw people, some people were there. You saw footprints. People were actively doing it. So I'm not trying to paint a picture of like, it's like, there's a peace rally going on. There's all harmony. No, there are some people that are crossing illegally as well there. Yeah. But from what that event was Title 42 was, there seemed to be a lot of misinformation both on our side and on their side too, as well, of understanding. People thought if they got here before Title 42 ended, it might be a different thing. So that's why people were coming so much more. But there was like, hey, they're gonna overrun and they're gonna just come through the border. People thought that. Yeah. But what happened was completely opposite. So it's kind of interesting. Like I said, man, it's kind of interesting to know that those things happen. But I think we're in a day and age now where we don't really believe we don't believe our media.
You can't, man. You can't.
You can't believe it, man. Because like I said, and that person that I'm referring, I'll tell you after this who it was, and you'll probably start laughing. Yeah. I don't know their name, but I know they're but anyways, that shit happening. And that was just a regular fucking thing where you're just like, damn. And to the point where people from big stations were like, all right, let's get out of here, man. They just moved their big truck out of the way.
Yeah.
And it was like Title 42 was going to end at this time frame. Let's say like 2 hours later, they're like, no, sorry, here, we're out. because they already know there's no story in peacefulness, right?
Yeah.
And so like,
but why not show that? You know what I'm saying? Well, like, why not show the quietness? Why not show the peaceful rally that was going on?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And that's
crazy.
What we had, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, that's why people are like, what happened? Are you all okay? It's like, it's dangerous. And you're just like, we actually came back early because like nothing happened. You know what I mean? Like nothing happened, man. And so people are like, y'all didn't, because people already had in their mind, like, you go there, you be patriots, you let them know what you're seeing. Be like,
right.
We didn't see nothing either though, man. Like, you know what I mean? It goes both ways in a sense of like, hey, this is what I saw. What'd you see? Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. It's like people were really hoping for America's doom. You're really hoping we got overran, or you're really hoping like the Border Patrol was like evil people. And it's like, what happened? The Border Patrol did exactly what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
They kept law and order. They kept it chill. You know what I mean? They did their job. And so it's like, damn, dude. And so it's like, but that's why, but honestly, if you think about it, that's why you don't hear nothing about the news no more about it. Because it was not what it was, dude. All like we're looking at, we're like, dude, this news is going crazy. Let's go.